All right, so good evening. Thanks for being here, Paola Wilson. I'm going to start today's class with you. All right, we have to start a new unit. We finished with unit 2, remember? And well, now we need to work on unit 3. Remember that you had, if I'm not wrong, until today, I'm going to verify to take the quiz. All right, please don't forget about Pearson because remember, as long as we are working here, you also need to work on Pearson. I'm going to show you more or less how you're doing. All right. If you see that you're missing something, please don't forget, all right, to work over here. So I'm going to show you, this is the first thing we're going to do. All right. Take a look at Pearson and see how you're doing over there. So you had 2 quizzes, right, so far. Quiz number 1 for unit 1 and quiz number 2 for this last unit. And I can see that most of you were able to take that quiz, all right? Only one student was not able to take it, but please remember that you can do it. If I'm not wrong, it's going to be until today. It was Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, right? So today, 11:59 p.m. is going to be the last chance for taking this quiz. And also remember that today we are starting with unit 3. All right, today at 6 a.m., you were able to start working on assignments for Unit 3. Just in case, again, I'm going to verify that one over here so that I can show you and you can ask me if you have questions. Okay, so this is Unit 1. Unit 1 is done. Unit 2 is done as well. All right, a quiz for Unit 2. Again, only one student is missing and you have until April, yes, the 20th, which is today 11:59 p.m. And Unit 3, again, it starts actually, yes, it's until the 25th, it's okay. And the start day, it's the 20th, today. Okay, today at 6 a.m. started Unit 3, and you have until April 25th to finish this unit. All right, so you have a lot of time yet to take Unit 3, but this is just a reminder. If you have any questions about Pearson, please, you can let me know, Paola or Wilson. All right. No questions? Good. We can keep going. And again, if you have any questions, just interrupt me, raise your hand, and let me know what your question is about. Now, before going to the new unit, remember that every unit we have a new document. So I'm sharing the new link. This is the link for Unit 3. All right, it's in the chat, and you can go there to be ready to write the exercises we need. So first, to start working with this one, we're going to work with a short activity, Paola and Wilson. You're going to tell me some experiences because we're going to work with past and not only with past continuous, but we are going to mix past continuous with simple past, all right, to start talking about experiences and to talk about past in general. So to do it, I'm going to start with you, please, Paola. What is the experience? It can be a good experience or a bad experience that you remember very well, Paola. You can tell me about that one time that you went to a concert, that you traveled to a certain place, that you did a certain activity, okay? Anything. Let's try to tell me something, and I'm going to use the timer, Paola, for at least, all right, 1 minute and 30 seconds or 2 minutes. All right, let me know when you're ready, please, Paola.
Experience.
All right.
Okay.
Yes. It can be a good experience, it can be a bad experience, but try to tell me the experience so that Wilson and I can understand why it is a good experience or why it is a bad experience.
Okay. A few years ago, I was riding a horse, and I did many competitions.
In that case, it depends. If you want to say competiciones, competition, if you want to say concursos, contests.
Contest.
So it's
okay.
Contest or competition.
Okay, contest, and I won the first the first place at the national competition. I think this is a good experience.
All right, yes, we can consider that a good experience. So I'm going to ask something, and Wilson, don't worry, if your internet is not working good, you're going to try to join, all right? If you're still having problems, you're going to let me know. But let's try to work, all right? If it's not possible, don't worry, I'm going to understand. All right, and Paola, yes. Now I'm going to ask you something, Paola, because I believe it's a good experience, but let's try to give a little bit more context to understand that experience. What was your idea at the beginning, Paola? You told me that you were riding horses, you rode horses. What was the tense that you used at the beginning, Paola? To talk about riding.
Few years ago.
A few years ago, good. And what was the idea after a few years ago?
Maybe because now I don't do this type of things.
Okay, good. And what is the expression that you use then? If you don't do something anymore, what structure do you use?
Past.
Okay, let's try to say it. In what way did you say that idea? I'm going to make some corrections.
Okay.
Okay, what was the idea?
Maybe it's wrong because I need to say not riding is road.
Okay, yes, ride is going to be an irregular verb, right?
Yeah.
Because it's going to be ride, rode, and then it's going to be ridden. But now there also something happened, Paula. If you tell me a few years ago I rode hours, it means, and I understand, that you only did that only one time in your life, in your entire life. Okay, so to make me understand that it was a routine, you're going to use the expression I used to ride horses. Okay, when you say I used to ride horses, it means that it was a past routine, and in the past you did that activity a lot, but now not anymore. All right, so let's have that idea one more time, please, Paul. It will be in this way. A few years ago, I used to ride horses. Let's repeat that one, please.
A few years ago, I used to ride horses.
Okay, good, good. Now, even to add more context, Paula, because again, your story, it's understandable, but to use more time, I said, right, 1 minute and 30 seconds or 2 minutes, to use more time, give us more context, Paula. For example, when was the first time that you rode a horse? When did you start riding horses, Paula?
I start riding horses when I have 16 years old.
Okay, good. And remember, not the verb have, it's going to be when I was, right? When I was 16. Good. One more time, please. One more time that idea, Paula. When did you start riding horses?
I started riding horses when I was 16 years old.
Okay, very good, right? And as start finishes with T, then the ED has to be more noticeable. So it's going to be started. Started. Good, very good. So good, you have that context, okay? After doing this, Paula, you're going to tell us your story again using all this information, okay? So you have, a few years ago, I used to ride horses. I started riding horses when I was about, you can say about when you say approximately, okay? When I was about 16 years old, okay? If you don't remember, when I was 16 years old, more or less. Then the second thing, Paola, was it the first time that you participated in a contest, or did you participated in other contests before that?
I participate in many
Sorry, so you participated in many contests before that last contest, right? Do you remember what was the date? What was the date or the year or of that last contest, Paola?
Mm, well, all these contests are on the weekends, more frequently on Sundays.
Okay, on Sundays. And specifically, what was the date or how long ago it was, Paola? It was like 2 months ago, 1 year ago, it was in 2019, in 2018, more or less, what was the date?
It was 2016, I think
Okay,
so.
2016, right, more or less. So also try to mention that one. Okay, I'm giving you elements because you're going to tell again the story again and try to use these elements. Okay, so one more time. A few years I used to ride horses, right? I started when I was 16. Okay, I started when I was 16 years old. I participated in many contests, but the last contest in which, all right, or the last contest, yes, the last contest in which I participated was in 2016. Okay, approximately, you can say. All right, and one more thing, try to describe your experience in past. How was that experience of that contest, Paola? How did you feel? How can you describe your emotions, your feelings about winning or about being in that context, Paola? What elements can you give me
Mm, I think it's really exciting because um, you you take many of these and I don't know how to say. How to say puntaje?
Score, the score.
Many of the okay, many of the people that are have a good score. So if you want to win, you need to do in the short time.
Good. So that's correct. So perhaps you can use the comparative, right? And you can say, so a lot of people have a lot or a good score, right? So in order to win, you need to do it in a shorter time. Okay, you can use that idea perhaps in a shorter time because the shorter the time in which you do, I think that, Paola, the better the score you get, right?
Yes.
Okay, so let's use that idea, please, Paula. You have to do it or you have to finish. I don't know what you're talking about. If it's finishing an activity, you can say you have to finish that in a shorter period of time. Okay, in a shorter period of time. Let's repeat that one, please.
You have to finish in a short period of time.
Good. And not only in short, so as you're comparing with the others, you're going to say in a shorter. Okay, it's like saying more short, right? But more short is incorrect, so you say shorter. Okay, one more time with shorter, please, Paola.
You have to finish in a shorter period of time.
Okay, there you go. So let's use only that information, all right? Only that one, Paola. I'm going to repeat again. You can mention, right? A few years ago, I used to ride horses. I started approximately when I was 16 years old, more or less, right? I participated in many contests, and the last contest in which I participated was in 2016, right? It was really exciting, you can say, right? I felt like excited because of the race or because of the contest. Many people there had very good scores, okay? Had good scores. So in order, or you can say, or to win, I had to do it or I had to finish in a shorter period of time, right? And at the end, you tell me, but at the end, I could do it and I won the contest. Okay, more or less organize your ideas one more time, Paola, using that information. Let's do it, please. Okay, let's do it one more time.
Okay. A few years ago, I used to ride the horses. I started when I was about 16 years old. I participate in many contests, and a lot of people have a very good score. But if you want to win, you have to finish in a shorter period of time. So I won this contest.
Very good. And I think you can say, right, at the end, because you won, Paola, because you finished that in the shorter period of time, right? You got to finish everything in less time than the others, right?
Yes.
Okay, good. And you can mention that one, just that one, all right? I think it's good. I only have two observations there, Paola. It's the verbs start and participate. At the beginning, I'm not going to ask that a lot, but remember, as they are in past, try to put a little bit more emphasis in the last ed. So how do you read start and participate in past, Paola?
Started.
Okay, and participate?
Participate.
How would it be? Participate is base form. What is the past of participate with ed?
Participated.
Participated. So I started and I participated. Okay, so I start present, I started past. I participate present, I participated past. All right,
Okay.
just that last ed. One more time to finish that one. Repeat start and participate in past, and we close with that one.
Okay. Started, participated.
Great. Thank you very much. Thank you, Paola. Good. So I'm going now with you, Daniel. Wilson was having some problems. He let me know. But Daniel, what we're doing is because we need to practice past, as we need to cover a past lesson, Daniel. And we are telling an experience, all right? A good experience or a bad experience that you remember very well. And you need to tell this experience in 1 minute and 30 seconds minimum and 2 minutes maximum. All right, you can think for some seconds. Let me know when you're ready to tell the story or the experience, please, Daniel.
Okay, I am thinking about a story, a large or a medium story. Can I talk about trip?
Yes, it will be a good example, a good experience talking about a trip. And remember, you can give us the details that you want, Daniel, as soon and as long as you're going to do it in 1 minute and 30 seconds and 2 minutes, but you can mention the details that you want in that time.
All right. Okay.
Good. So are you ready?
Yeah, I will improvise.
Okay, let's do it then, please. Let's start.
Okay. I am going to talk about a trip. It was in 2020 after the pandemic. I remember that I went to La Paz with some friends, with my best friends. I went to the Dead Road first. First of all, I went to the Dead Road. That was an activity to ride a bike in the mountains. So it's called that in that way because you have to descend in a bike for the mountains, as I said. It that place is called the Yungas or Death Road. So it was an extreme activity. I remember that we were preparing for at least 2 or 3 weeks before did that activity. What else? Yeah, after that we went to Copacabana to meet that place. Um, yeah, it was a good trip and was very funny with friends.
Very good. Thank you very much, Daniel. I think everything in general was very good. Only one thing was not clear. How do you say, I'm going to give you something similar. Nos preparamos bien antes de hacer esta actividad. How do you say that in English?
Yeah, I was confused in that part because I was thinking on say we were preparing for 3 weeks before that activity. And also we were prepared the activity. No, I think the first one is uh, correct for me.
Good. Yes, and actually it's not bad. All right. I think that idea, if you use the past continuous, is not bad if you want to put emphasis on the continuation of the activity in the past, right? We were preparing, right, for a long time, or we were preparing, or we were getting ready, you can also say, right? We were preparing, we were getting ready. But usually, all right, and this is what we're going to cover today, usually you use the past continuous when there's going to be another activity that interrupts that first activity. All right. But I believe that in your case, that activity was not interrupted, it was finished, right? Because you got to prepare. So my recommendation is, instead of using the simple past, try to simply use the past continuous, try to use the simple past, right? So instead of saying we were preparing or we were getting ready, it's better if you say we prepared ourselves or we got ready. Okay, we got ready,
Okay.
or we prepared everything before and after. Before, you mentioned one verb. Oh, and I ask you there, what is the form of the verb if you want to use a verb after before? Do you remember? Is it going to be the base form? Is it going to be the infinitive with to? Is it going to be the gerund with ing? Or can we use past verbs after prepositions? What do you say then?
I think it's a gerund, the
The
correct way.
gerund. Yeah, exactly, right? And I think that you were talking about the verb, it was either do or go, one of those. But how would you conjugate then in those cases? If you want to use go or do, how can you use that verb after before?
Before going or before doing?
Before doing or exactly, before doing or going. That's correct. Okay, just that one, Daniel. Then the best option instead of past continuous is simple past if the action was finished and was not interrupted. All right, and the reminder for using gerunds. But that's everything, Daniel. I think everything else was very good. I don't know if you have any questions or comments about that.
No, teacher. Thank you for the recommendations.
Okay, good. You're welcome. Thank you very much, Daniel. So that's it. All right. Well, it's a shame what's happening to Wilson. I hope that he can join the class soon. He was having some problems. But in the meantime, we're going to continue, please. Again, this is something that you know, that I think you also learned with me. But if you didn't, you covered this with other teachers, all right? The past continuous. And this is what Daniel was saying in the example, right? We were preparing or we were getting ready. But usually, and as we're going to learn here, we use the past continuous when something was interrupted or only to talk about the context of a story that we're telling. All right, but let's learn that. The formula is easy. I know that you remember, right? I was going, she was going, you were going, they were going. So I, he, she, it is with was, plus the verb with ing. This is the present participle, right? And we, you, they, plus were. So you know that. It's just as a reminder over there. What we're going to work here is learning when to use it and how to use it. So I'm going to ask you to read this one, please, Paola. We use the past continuous, and let's read that one, please.
Okay. We use the past continuous for something which happened before and after another action. The children were doing their homework when I got home. Compare the children did their homework when after I got home.
Thank you, Paola. So this is the first way of using it, right? If you say, we were watching a movie when you arrived. So first, you were watching a movie, then you arrived, you interrupted the action, and then perhaps you continued watching the movie. All right, but again, the past continuous is for something that is happening, and the simple past is for something that happened, only that happened. All right, and again, the first action is always going to be the action with the past continuous. All right, that's always the first action. But let's learn more about that. This is for you, please, Daniel, the next part.
Okay, we use the past continuous to talk about actions that were happening at the same time. Like I was driving while she was talking on the phone. He was looking at his textbooks while they were taking a test.
Okay, thank you, Daniel. So let's work with these two ways. All right, as I told you, I already sent the link. All right, the link is in the chat, but I'm going to send it again. All right, there you go. In that link now, I'm going to give you the two examples one more time. And you're going to tell me what's the difference. The difference was what's explained there, right? But if I say this, right, I was, watching the TV when you called me, the TV, when you called me, or you can say, I was watching the TV when you called me, or I was listening to music while you were watching TV. All right, watching TV. So, what is the difference between these two ideas? And I'm going to try to work with you. I know that you were having problems, Wilson. Well, again, the problems. So I'm going to work with you then, Paola. All right. These two ideas. What is the difference between these two ideas, Paola? I was watching TV when you called me, and I was listening to music while you were watching TV. What do you say?
The first one is interrupted when you was watching TV and you stop doing this and you call me. And in the second one, you was listening music, and at the same time you are watching TV.
Good, right? So I was listening to music, and great. At the same time, another person was watching TV. So good. I think that was great, Paola. It can be interrupting, yes. That was my example, right? Interrupting. But it can also be that it happened, and actually I continued watching TV. All right. But the idea is that it happened after, right? So if I ask you this in this part, Paola, because the explanation was very good for both. In the number one, Paola, what is the first action and what is the second action? If you talk about a sequence, Paola, what do you say?
The first action is watching TV, and the second, call.
Great. Thank you, Paola. That is correct. So here, right, we can talk about interruption. Could be. That's only one possibility, right? Interruption. Then besides interruption, you can talk about sequence. All right, interruption or sequence. But here you're talking about something that happens simultaneously, right? As you were saying, Paola, at the same time, right? That's the only and the big difference. So here, if you realize, we use the past continuous plus when plus the simple past, okay? Past continuous when simple past. And here we use past continuous, right? Just in case. We use past continuous, we use while, okay, while, and we use past continuous one more time. Okay, so let's try to put them in this way over there. Okay, so number one, interruption sequence. Number two, simultaneous actions. All right, if you have questions about that, please let me know. If not, let's do the same, please, Daniela and Paola. Only write two examples. One example showing me interruption and one example showing me simultaneously. All right, things happening simultaneously. Let's do it, please. Again, if you have any questions, just let me know. All right. Okay. And in the meantime, also, Wilson, are you there? Can you hear me? I know that you're having problems with your connection, but can you hear me now?
Yes, yes, I can hear you, but sometimes my internet is lost. I lose my internet.
Okay, good. Yes, yes. And we're going to try to take advantage of the time, Wilson. But let me know, were you able to understand this part? Were you able to listen to this difference using the past continuous with the simple past and using the past continuous with the past continuous?
Yes, yeah, yeah. I listened a few.
Okay, let's try to complement this one only with you, Wilson. Okay, if you see
Okay.
the screen in number one, you're going to use past continuous plus when plus simple past when you want to talk about interruption or a sequence. Okay, so for example, you can say, I was studying for the test, first action. Okay, I was studying for the test when, okay, when the bell rang. Okay, when the bell rang or when the phone rang. Okay, so first action, I was studying, and then second action, the phone rang, but the second action interrupts the first action or appears after the first action.
The
Okay,
second
that's
action
number.
is happening at at that moment.
Yeah, the second action happens very quickly and interrupts the first action. Okay, so the first action actually in present continuous, Wilson, is the continuous action, right? It's something that you were doing. So I was, you can say this one also, and I think this is a very good example, Wilson. I was sleeping, right? I was sleeping when, again, when the phone rang. Okay, so the activity that you were doing, the main activity, Wilson,
At the
is
same
that
moment.
you were asleep. Not at the same moment. Actually, they are going to, the second action only happens one time and very rapidly, interrupts and disappears. Okay, in number one. In number two, I cannot, again, well, I'm going to wait for Wilson one more time. I hope we can work with him. But at the same time, again, please, Daniela and Paola, if you finished, let's read your ideas, please.
Teacher, two examples with each way or just one?
No, actually, only one with each. One with the interruption and one with the activities happening simultaneously.
Okay.
All right. I think you have them. If not, let's finish, Daniel, and we're going to check. All right, so Wilson, I was telling you, were you able to listen to that explanation, the last one? In number one, they are not happening at the same time, okay? This one. In number one, they don't happen at the same time. One is happening and the other interrupts, and the other continues happening. But the action that interrupts, Wilson, is very punctual, okay? It happens and it finishes. It's just like that, okay? It's happening, interrupts, and that's it. In number two, they are happening at the same time. When you are using past continuous in both cases, Wilson, then it means that they are happening at the same time. All right, again, then Paola, let's continue working this with you, please. Let's read your ideas.
Okay. I was cooking dinner when my mother arrived home. She was watching a horror film while you was playing video games.
Thank you very much, Paola. Only one little detail, the examples are very good. Remember that the conjugation is I, he, she, it was, right? I was, he was, she was, it was. But with plural and with you, it's going to be were, right? You were, they were, we were.
Okay.
All right, and it's going to be like ER and E. All right, so WERE. Just that one. All right, just that one, Paula. The rest of the ideas, I think, is very good. Do you have any questions about this difference, Paula? Let me know, please.
No, teacher is okay.
Okay, thank you. Now I'm working with you, Daniel, once again. Let's read your ideas, please, Daniel.
Okay, I was driving my bike when a car hit me. I was washing the car when it started to rain. He was having dinner while the match started. It was a good night.
Thank you very much, Daniel. Now let's analyze. I think the three are correct also. And you can use while with simple past is correct. But in this case, right, we are not saying that both were happening at the same time. It also feels that the second action started, but it's like the first action finished or was interrupted. While gives the idea of continuity, all right, but not always. In order to do this with this logic, Daniel, for practicing, let's try to use the second idea also in the past continuous. What action can you give me after a while, Daniel, but that feels that it was happening? Because if we say, for example, was starting, it's going to be weird, right? And why? Because if you realize that action to start is not an action that happens in a long way, right? Something starts and it's just like that, right? For example, the phone rang. It's just like that. The car hit me, right? It's just like that. And the match started. It's just like that. So it's okay. It is okay putting it in that way. All right. All right. So the match was happening. It was a good night. All right. That can be, or also you can say, while the teams, right, or you can mention the name of the teams, right, while Barcelona and PSG were playing, right? So at the same time, you were having dinner while those teams were playing, or while this was happening. But that's the only idea. I think with this verb also, it works great, Daniel. I don't know if you have any questions or comments about that.
No, teacher, it's clear now.
All right, good. Thank you very much, Daniel. And we're going to work with you, Wilson. Let me see. You are working on that one. Let's finish together. All right, let's read your first idea, please, Wilson.
I was listening the English class when the internet connection failed.
Good, that's a good example. Yes. And the second one, let's start with the second one, please.
He was cooking his favorite food while he while she was waiting for it.
Okay, it is correct. It is good. Okay, both examples are great, Wilson. He was cooking his favorite food or dish, you can say. It's okay, food, while she was waiting for it. All right, so it's great, Wilson. In the first case, it's interruption. And in the second case, is something that happens at the same time. right? So I can see because of your examples that you understood very well, Wilson. Do you have any questions about these two ways of working with with past continuous? Let me know, please.
The second, I don't understood well.
Okay,
I didn't
but actually,
understand well.
all right. Actually, your example is great. All right, your example is great. You are going to use while, Wilson, when the actions, let's not call them things, when the actions are happening at the same time, simultaneously. All right, simultaneously. It's like this one. It means that now, or well, in past, right? He was doing that action, he was cooking, and at the same time, okay, at the exact time, he was waiting for it, or she was waiting for it, right? So he was in the kitchen cooking, and she was in the living room waiting for him. All right, it means that both actions
Okay.
were taking place at the same time during a period of time in a progression in the past. All right, just that one. I don't know if that
Okay.
helps, Wilson.
Yeah, yeah, it's more
Okay,
clear.
good. And the only difference, if you say Wilson, the only difference with number one is that in number one, something was happening, but something else interrupted. And the thing that interrupted the action, Wilson, has to be very punctual. For example, this one, right? The internet connection failed. You cannot say while the internet connection was failing. No, when the internet connection failed and I got disconnected, right? So in number one, something was happening and something interrupted the action. And in number two, something was happening and something else was happening at the same time. Okay, that's the difference with the two, all right?
Okay, teacher. Yes, I understood.
Okay, great. Thank you very much, Wilson. And again, they were great examples. Now,
Thank you, teacher.
let's continue. You're welcome. Working with this one. Those are the two most common ways of using past continuous. Okay, and again, if you realize then, we don't use past continuous for main actions. Usually, they are actions that are going to be interrupted, or they are actions that deserve more attention because they are the context, or something else is going to happen afterwards. All right, but let's understand how. We have more examples. These are some formulas. Okay, we're going to read these formulas and we're going to give examples with speaking just to see that you can use these words in different ways. And this is going to be for you. Sorry, please, Paola. The first formula along with the first explanation. This explanation, the first formula, please, Paola.
Okay, short formula. Take this into account with the words when and while. When, past continuous, when plus simple past. When plus simple past plus comma plus past continuous.
Thank you, Paola. So here you only see that you can use when with inversion. Okay, so you can say, I was watching TV when you called me. Okay, I was watching TV, past continuous, when what interrupted the action? You called me, the second action. And you can do exactly the same, but with inversion. And you can say, when you called me, right? When you called me, and here you need a comma, okay? In writing, you need a comma, I was watching TV. It's exactly the same, okay? It gives the same idea. There is no difference, okay? There's no difference. The only thing is that you can use both ways, okay? The standard order with when in the middle, or the inversion with when at the beginning. Okay, one more time, and each of you, all right, each of you is going to give me one example, please. So, I was watching TV when you called me. When you called me, comma, I was watching TV. Okay, let's mention also the comma, please. Sorry, I'm a little bit sick. That's why I have this, all right, these things, but let's mention the comma as well, all right? So you're going to say, when you called me, comma, I was watching TV. Let's start with you, please, Daniel. Only one example and use the standard order and the inversion, please, Daniel.
Okay, she was brushing her teeth when she lost a teeth. When she lost a teeth, comma, she was brushing her teeth.
Right, very good. Only one thing over there. You are saying, what is the singular form of teeth?
Tooth.
Tooth, okay. So one more time, what was the part with when?
Okay, she was brushing her teeth when she lost a tooth.
Okay, very good. Great. Thank you, Daniel. She was brushing her teeth when she lost a tooth, right? Or, yes, when she lost a tooth, she was, comma, she was brushing her teeth, right? I think that's great. Thank you, Daniel. The same with you, please, Paola. Only one idea and use the same idea, Paola, in the standard order and inversion, please.
Okay. He was walking to work when he fell. When he fell, comma, he was walking to work.
Good, very good. Sometimes you can use the idea to fall down, right? But it's understandable and it's more than enough to only say to fall, right? So I think it's okay. All right. He was going to work when he fell, and when he fell, comma, he was going to work. That's great. Thank you, Paola. Wilson, let's do the same with you, please, Wilson. Only one idea and use it in both orders, please.
Okay. I was watching the match when my brother called me for dinner. My brother called me for dinner, comma. I was watching the match.
Okay. One more time, the second way, please, Wilson. I'm not sure. Let's try to use when at the beginning. Perhaps you mentioned it, but I couldn't listen. One more time, using when before the simple past idea, please.
Yeah. When my brother called me for dinner, comma, I was watching the match.
Okay, great. Thank you very much, Wilson. I think again it's working. Thank you. So there you go. All right, this is very simple, right? Only a standard order and inversion. But please remember, when you work with inversion, you need and you have to use what? A comma. Okay, this is the big difference. This is the only difference, actually. Right? This is the only difference. The comma is the only difference. Now, let's go with while. With while, actually, you have more options. And you, Daniel, you were working with one of those options, right? Because you can work with a simple past as well. But here, let's only work with past continuous, okay? Only with past continuous to understand better and to like compare when and while. When is for interruptions, for events, first event, second event, and while is not for interruptions. While is for events that are happening or that were happening at the same time, right? Because this can be for present or for past. In this case, it is for past. So the same, a standard order, right? I was watching TV while you were reading that book. While you were reading that book, right? While you were reading that book, comma, I was watching TV. It's as simple as that, right? Both ideas with the past continuous. Okay, one more time. I was watching TV while you were reading that book, or while you were reading that book, comma, I was watching TV. Okay, that's again a very simple example that I can give. Let's do the same one more time. This time I'm going to start with you, please, Wilson. What example can you give me with while in both orders, please, Wilson? The standard order and the inversion.
Okay. I lost a teacher a question.
Yes, tell me, Wilson.
Lost is the past of loss.
Lose, lose is the base verb. Lost is the past. But remember here, Wilson, you don't have to use the simple past. You have to use continuous, past continuous.
Losing.
But be sure if that is the best option, Wilson. If you want to give ideas with while, it has to be with actions that are happening. For example, if you say I was losing, it means that that action took a long time. But it's weird. Perhaps you can be losing a match, a soccer game, right? You are losing the game because the game is like 90 minutes, right? 90 minutes. But if you're talking about losing an object, like for example, a cell phone, it's weird if you say I was losing, right? It's directly I lost. So the best option is not to use it with while. Okay, so it depends. If it's about a match, you can use the past continuous and you can say losing. I was losing. All right, but let's do it. Let's try. What's your idea, Wilson? For a while, two actions that were happening at the same time, and these two actions, Wilson, they have to be actions that are easy to understand as actions that are happening for a period of time. Okay, not exact actions, but long actions that were happening.
Okay. My idea was I was losing the bus, my trip or the bus, while the bus was no sé cómo decir, continuando su recorrido.
Actually, you can use the same word, Wilson. You can say continuing. While the bus was continuing its track, all right, its path. You can say its path, su camino, all right, path. I'm writing that in the chat. And it's possessive for object, right? So you can say its path. So was continuing. But again, if you analyze and if we analyze that, Wilson, I think the idea is good, but I think it's not the best option to use it with while. And why, Wilson? Because you're telling me that these are long actions, that you were losing the bus, right? And the bus was continuing its path. So it was happening at the same time. But as you can see, those are actions that are not good if they happen at the same time. You can say, right, I was waiting for the bus while something else was happening. But the idea has to be clear that the two actions, all right, are simultaneous, all right, are simultaneous, and they are obvious when understanding, all right, why they can be happening at the same time. All right, so let's try one more idea, please, Wilson.
Okay, when I was waiting for the bus, when a dog was biting me my leg.
Okay, all right, that's also valid, right? But if you realize in that one, you're also telling me, and it's correct, but it means that the two actions are happening for a period of time. It means that, well, as you were, okay, you can replace here, Wilson, as. You can say while or as. It means that as you were waiting for the bus, at the same time, during all that period of time, a dog was biting you. Okay, it means that if you were waiting for the bus for 20 minutes, the dog was biting you for 20 minutes. All right, that's the idea, that both are happening at the same time.
Yes. So I can replace with an action, a short action. In the
Okay, you can say that action in the past continuous, and it's possible. Let's do it. Let's do it in the past, in the simple past also.
Okay, I was waiting for the bus when a dog bited my leg.
You're going to say there, over there, beat. Okay, beat me.
Beat. Okay, beat me my leg.
Exactly. Good. Beat my leg or only beat me. All right,
Okay.
beat me. All right, good. Now that is correct. Okay, that sentence is correct, Wilson. But if you realize one more time that now we are in number one with when.
Yeah.
Now the only thing we're going to do, just to work with this one, because we are getting close. All right, let's use the same idea. I was waiting for the bus while. Now tell me another action, not only related to you, Wilson. You can talk about other people around you. Okay, you can talk about other actions that were happening at the same time around you. And we understand that if you were waiting for the bus for 20 minutes, that other action was also happening for 20 minutes in the past. Okay, so what other action can happen for 20 minutes as you are waiting for the bus, Wilson? What do you say?
I think I was waiting for the bus while a male was I don't know was selling the tickets.
Okay, yes, it is correct. Okay, now, do you see the difference? I'm going to ask you to finish this one, Wilson. The difference is that if you tell me that now it's correct, and I think it's very coherent, Wilson, in the 20 minutes that you were waiting for the bus, another person was selling tickets. Okay, and if you realize that's very logic, right? Because it can happen. And you can say many things, Wilson. You can say, well, I was waiting for the bus, or I was waiting for the bus while a man was singing. Okay, so the man was singing a song during all the time that you were waiting for the bus. Okay, or I was waiting for the bus while a lady was eating a hamburger. Okay, because the lady can eat the hamburger for 10 minutes, 15 minutes, and at the same time, you are waiting for the bus. All right, so when you want to use while, Wilson, with two past continuous actions, just be sure that the two actions can be understood as actions that happened or that happened during a period of time. 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 20 minutes, 1 hour. Okay, if it's not possible that one of those actions can happen during that time, then it's not going to be the best option to use while, and the best option is going to be to use when.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah.
I don't know if you have questions about that one, Wilson.
No, teacher.
Is it clear?
Yeah. It's
Okay,
clear.
good. And again, if you have any more questions after these examples with your partners, you're going to let me know your doubts. All right.
Okay, thank you, teacher.
You're welcome. Now, let's go with you now, Paola. The same. Let's give two ideas, please, Paola, with while, one in the standard order and the other one in the inversion, both with past continuous, please.
Okay. She was playing the piano while Anna was singing on stage. Anna was singing on stage, and while Anna was singing on stage, comma, she was playing the piano.
Okay. All right, I think it was very good, Paola. I have no observations, right? It's obvious that both activities can happen at the same time because both activities can take not only 5 minutes, but 10 minutes, 1 hour, right? And they can happen simultaneously, right? So no observations. I don't know if you have any questions about this part, Paola.
No, teacher.
No?
It's
All
good.
right. Thank you. And Daniel, let's finish this up with you, please. The same. One idea in a standard order and inversion with while, please. And both ideas with the past continuous.
Okay. I was ordering a coffee while the waiter was taking the order. While the waiter was taking the order, I was ordering a coffee.
Good. Thank you very much, Daniel. In that case, both can happen in only 1 minute or even seconds, but they can happen at the same time, right? You were speaking up, right? What you wanted, and the other person was writing down what you were saying. So even though the actions are short, only seconds or minutes, they can happen at the same time and they can be in progress, right? Because they can be interrupted. Thank you, Daniel. Again, do you have any questions about while? Let me know, please.
No, teacher. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. So there you go. All right. Working with this is very interesting because you have to know when you are going to use when, and you have to know when you are going to use while. Okay. When is for more structured ideas, is for ideas that can be interrupted, or for punctual ideas. Okay, very punctual ideas. As I was saying, right? To lose something, sometimes when you lose something, it's not a progress. It's something that happens, okay, and just happens, very punctual, right? So when I lost this happened, okay? But some actions can take a longer period of time. Eating, for example, singing, playing, right? Some actions can take longer periods of time. And with those actions, you can use while, right? So that's the biggest thing that you can do to decide which one is the best option. Okay, so when, this is only like an extra thing. And this is going to be for you, please, Wilson. When?
When. You can use when all the time if the continuous action and the punctual action are obvious. I broke my leg when I was practicing in the park. I was studying for the test when you called me. Simple past interrupts, past continues the ongoing action.
Okay, thank you very much, Wilson. So in other words, this is just telling you, right? Remember, studying, broke, was studying, was practicing, called me. So it doesn't matter if you use simple past or past continuous, you can use when, okay, every time. Here, for example, you can use when. You can say, I was waiting for the bus when a man was selling the tickets. So you can also use when instead of while, all right? But using while is better, is more formal. But as long as it's obvious, you can use when every time. And while can be optional. But again, my advice is to use while. When you have to use while, try to use it because it can be more formal. Okay, but now this is the thing. Now this is important for me. We have time for doing this, Daniel, Paula, and Wilson, and I'm going to give you some elements. I mentioned some of these elements, Daniel, right? When I text you about those words, right? The connectors, the transitional words and phrases. First of all, besides, also, right? So we're going to use that now because you're going to write a story. But you're going to write a story, please, using these elements. Let's read this related usage with you, please, Paola. Related usage, please.
This use of the past continuous is very common at the beginning of a story. The other day I was waiting for a bus when Last week, as I was driving to work.
Thank you, Paola. So as you can see, this is not only for context, but I'm going to show you what do I mean with context. It's also to start a story. Okay, so you can say this is very common, right? Even in Spanish, right? The other day, right? If you don't want to mention the specific day, you just say the other day, right? Or last week, or yesterday, or the day before yesterday, last year, last month, last Monday, and blah, blah, blah. I was waiting for the bus or for a bus when I saw a very interesting man. He was wearing this and that, and he looked so interesting, right? I wanted to approach him. I wanted to ask him, right, why he was dressing like that. And he told me that blah, 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 right? So I can tell a story, and my introduction is going to be with past continuous. Okay, I was doing this, I was doing that, I was going to my uncle's house when suddenly, right, out of the blue, out of nowhere, this happened. All right, so again, as you can see, it's introduction, but it's always interrupted by something. Because when you tell a story, right, usually that happens, right? You're doing something, but something else interrupts that one. You see someone, you hear something, something happens. Okay, so take this into account, please. You're going to use this in your story. You're going to have like 10 minutes, it's a lot, but in those 10 minutes, you're going to write a story using these ideas in simple past. Let's keep going, okay? Yes, this one as well, this is for you, please, Daniel.
Okay, we use the past continuous for something that happened before and after a specific time. It was 8 o'clock. I was writing a letter. Compare. At 8 o'clock, I started writing some letters.
Thank you very much, Daniel. So what is the difference? When you mention a specific time and you use past continuous, right? It means that this action started before 8 o'clock in this case, right? If you say it was 8 o'clock, and then if you say I was writing a letter, it means that the action started before 8 o'clock and it continued after 8 o'clock. Okay, but at 8 o'clock, that's what I was doing. But if you say at 8 o'clock I wrote, it means that you started doing that. It didn't happen before. You started at 8 o'clock. Okay, so this is also useful for stories, right? You can say it was 7 in the morning and I was running. It means that you started running before 7 in the morning and you continued running after 7 in the morning, right? It was 7 in the morning. I was running, right? I was running around the lagoon. And again, you add some information, right? When I saw this, or while it was raining, you can say that, right? Because it's happening at the same time. So it was 7 in the morning. I was running around the lagoon while it was raining, right? I decided to do it because I really wanted to finish running that, to feel good, to feel better with myself, and blah, 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 right? So this is another way to use the past continuous. Then for repeated actions, this is similar to routine, okay? But only when you want to put emphasis. Don't use this too often, okay? Only to put emphasis in some stories. And this is for you, please, Wilson.
For something that happened again and again. I was practicing every day, 3 times a day. They were meeting secretly after school. They were always quarreling, fighting, arguing.
Good. This word, please, it's close, Wilson. That UA is going to be like all like quarreling.
Quarreling.
Okay, good. And this is the meaning, right? fighting or arguing. All right, good. Thank you, Wilson. So
Thank you, teacher.
something that happened repeatedly, okay? They were meeting secretly after school. It's not something that was happening only during a period of time, during minutes. It was something that happened for days, for weeks, perhaps for months. Okay, that's the activity that they were doing repeatedly for a long period of time. Not minutes, not hours. Okay, it was days, weeks, months. That's the other usage. And only one more. No, this is only about action verbs. That's something else. Only with that one. Okay, with that knowledge, please. We are going to go again to our file over here, Paola, Daniel, and Wilson. And let's do that one, please, as I told you. I was thinking of giving you the 10 minutes, but as we need to cover a little bit more, it's going to be 5, okay? In 5 minutes, please, you're going to tell me a story. Try to tell me as much as you can, all right, of a story. Try to start like this, okay, with this. Remember, to begin a story, you can use the over here, right? The past continuous. The other day, I was waiting for the bus. I was going to my girlfriend's house. I was going to a party. I was doing this and that, okay? And tell me, this is the logic you have to follow, okay, before starting. The past continuous is for introductions, for introducing a story, and for context. Okay, so one more time, I'm going to use this idea. The other day, I was waiting for a bus when I saw a man who was dressed very, very, you can say, catchy, right, in a catchy way. I approached him and I wanted to know why he was dressing in that way, right? It was raining at that moment. Okay, so that's context. It was raining at that moment, but it didn't matter. I really wanted to know why he was using those clothes. So he told me that this, and that. So again, all right, introduction and context, use a past continuous. For repeated actions, use past continuous. For actions that started before and finished after a specific period of time, use past continuous. For the rest of the ideas, if they are specific ideas, don't use past continuous, okay? Use simple past. When I saw a man, simple past. I had a conversation, simple past, okay? I prepared that, simple past. Okay, specific actions, simple past, introductions, context, and actions that happen before and after, past continuous. With that, okay, I repeated that many times. Let's work on that, please. If you have any questions, let me know. If not, again, in the file, for 5 minutes, tell me any story that you want using simple past and past continuous and any tense that you know in past. Okay, let's do it, please, guys. We check in 5 minutes. I know that some of you don't know, all right? I was doing this with you, Daniel, and when Larissa is not here. But if you don't know Paola and Wilson about using the periods or commas in English, all right, I'm going to teach you. Just do it in the way that you believe is better, all right? And I'm going to correct that as well, all right? Punctuation. Okay, it's the 5 minutes. Please be finishing. All right, I'm going to give you 30 more seconds. Finish the last details, and we're going to start reading what you got. All right, it doesn't matter how much you wrote. What you wrote is what we're going to check. All right, this is just practice. Okay, 30 seconds to finish the details, please. All right, now let's go to the document and let's take a look at what you got. And again, we're going to remember the rules, okay? We're going to remember rules for using commas, periods, semicolons, and also we're going to try to add some connectors and some transitional words and phrases. So I'm going to start with you, please, Paola. Let's read your ideas, please.
Okay. Last week, I was cooking dessert when my cousin arrived at my home. She arrived with her husband and a few days ago, and she is going to stay for 2 weeks. She showed many photos for her son and also for her dog when my dad appeared in the kitchen.
Great, thank you very much, Paula. Now let's check the details, all right? I think that all in all, it's working very good. Few things, because all in all, I think again, it's great. So in terms of commas, I think it's also working good. Last week, comma, you were doing this when your cousin arrived, right, at your home. So I think it's working good so far. All right, it's working very, very good so far. And again, this might be optional, but in this case, as you want to put emphasis that is your house, right, your home, but your house, it can be there. All right, so it's okay. She arrived with her husband a few days ago. I imagine that this is still having a connection with the present, right, Paula? That's what you're telling me. And she's going to stay for 2 weeks. It means that she is still, according to this story, according to this experience, Paula, she is still in your house, right? Is that correct?
Yeah.
Okay, good. So only one thing over here, Paola, as we are using one more time the subject and we are using a different tense, this is the rule. To connect two complete ideas, she, subject, arrived, verb, with her husband a few days ago, complement, right? So that's one complete idea. Then you have and, this is a connector, a coordinating conjunction. Then you have subject, she, the verb is, well, is going to in this case, right? Is the auxiliary. The verb going, then to stay, so this is even future, all right? So again, you have subject, auxiliaries, and verbs, and complements. So this is another complete idea, all right? The rule says that when you do that, you're going to place a comma before the and, okay, to divide the first idea with the second idea, only, right, only when you use a connector, in this case and. So only the comma, all right? That's the only detail over here, but good, for 2 weeks. Period. She showed many photos, right, for her son. And perhaps over here also, all right, instead of for, you can say of, right? Because the photos, in the photos, right, the person who was in the photos was her son, right? So you can say showed many photos of her son and also for her dog. Okay, so it's not for, in this case, it's going to be of her son and her dog. My recommendation is just putting up to that part in Paola. Okay, I'm going to use a different marker over here. So this would be like not necessary to that part. Okay, so she showed many photos of her son. Okay, so this wouldn't be needed, of her son and her dog. Okay, that would be in total. He showed. Then here you can also not only showed in general, you can try to use an object that is receiving the action. Okay, so my recommendation, it can be me or us. Okay, this is going to be more common because if not, it's too general. Okay, too general. So she showed us, or she showed me, many photos of her son and her dog when my dad appeared in the kitchen. So if this is an action that happened after this, okay, you're telling me that this is the first action and when, and this is the second action, then it is correct. Now, if you want to talk about interruption, Paola, you can say past continuous. She was showing us many photos of her son and her dog when my dad appeared in the kitchen. All right, but that's it. Those are the suggestions and recommendations I can give, Paola. I don't know if you have any questions or comments. Let me know, please.
No, teacher, thank you.
All right, okay, thank you, Paola. Again, right here, the last part, it depends on the idea that you want to give. If it's only sequence, it's okay with simple past. If it's interruption, it can be changed to a past continuous, the first action. Just that one. Daniel, I'm going with you now, Daniel. Let's read your idea, please.
Okay. The story of my last trip. I remember when I was arriving at the airport very rushed. The attendant stopped us, telling us that it was too late to take the airplane. At that moment, while I was making some calls to ask for help. My girlfriend was discussing with attendant. Then we were waiting all the afternoon for a new flight when a new attendant noticed us for some spaces in a new flight. At the end, we could fly, but it was a tough day.
Thank you very much, Daniel. Good. Again, I think it's very complex, very interesting. I think it's very well structured. Again, we're just going to take a look at details, all right? Only details. Now, in the first part, when you have the story of my last trip, that's not a complete idea, right? That's like a phrase. That's like an introductory phrase. That's even like the title of your story, right? The story of my last trip. So you can take that, as a title or as something introductory, Daniel, or you can complete the idea and you can say a complete idea by saying, this was the story of my last trip. Okay, then that's a complete idea and it can be used as that. Because if you only use it like that and then you only say, I remember, right? It's not going to be correct, at least in this way of writing. Okay, so you can say, in my last trip directly, or you can put this as a title and something apart, okay? And it's going to be beside. So it can be like that. Okay, good. Very good. And the comma over there, right? And then you can use the comma. On my last trip, okay, on my last trip, and the comma, I remember, good. Very good. Now, great. So I remember when I was here, if you want to be very formal, you can use that. Okay, I remember that when I was arriving at the airport, good. Instead of rush to use that as an adjective, Daniel, you're going to use the expression like in a rush. Okay, in a rush. Quickly over here is one option. You can correct that one. So I'm going to write the option here. Quickly, but that's not what you want to say, right? You can say in a rush. And that's better. Okay, instead of rushed with ed, it's better if you only say in a rush. Okay, I was arriving at the airport in a rush. Okay, without this very, only in a rush. Or I was in a rush to get to the airport, you can say, comma, the attendant stopped us telling us that it was too late, right, to take the airplane, period. Good. Here you have too many ideas in the next part, okay? At that moment, this is the introductory phrase, okay? At that moment, comma, while I was making some calls to ask for help, comma, good, 2 commas. The first comma is for the introductory phrase, right? At that moment, yesterday, before, right? Introductory phrase. The second comma is because of while, right? Because while is at the beginning, you use comma. So good. At that moment, comma, while, blah, 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 comma, my girlfriend was discussing with the attendant, okay? And again, here you can say attendant, or you can add the information and say the flight attendant. Okay. Right over there, and over here the same. Okay, to make it sure and to make it more precise that you're talking about that person. Then, right, remember, if then is not the subject, then is the introductory phrase, right? Then, comma, we were waiting all afternoon for a new flight when a new flight attendant could be, right? Flight attendant or attendant, again, is not incorrect, but to make it clear, noticed us. Good. Notice can mean to announce, right? If you want to say that one, oh, or if you want to say, let me finish reading this. Noticed us for some spaces. Okay, great. Yes, here is like announce, right? Announced us for some spaces in a new flight. At the end, right? This is another introductory phrase. At the end, we could fly, comma, right? Why? Because you say we could fly, complete idea, but it was a tough, complete idea, right? It, verb, and complement. That's why we're going to need a comma before that part, okay? Comma, but it was a tough day. I only have this. It can be at the end or in the end, all right? But we're going to discuss about it. But here, instead of some spaces, let's try to use a different expression over there, because you're talking about the places in which you sit when you're in a flight,
Yeah, I
right?
don't remember.
Okay, you can talk about seats, okay?
Oh.
Free seats or available seats. All right, like this one. I'm going to write it at the end. Seats, like that one.
Seats.
Okay, and you can also mention this word, available. Okay, some available seats in a new flight. All right. And at the end refers to the last idea. In the end also refers to the last idea. Sometimes they use this idea more in British English than in American English. All right. I wouldn't say that it's incorrect in this case, Daniel. It's valid to use at the end. But if you want to follow the logic of American English, you can use in the end. All right. But at the end or in the end, they have the same meaning. Just that one. That will be my correction. I don't know if you have any questions about that one, Daniel. Let me know, please.
No, teacher. Just trying to remember the fanboys, but it's good for writing.
Very good. Yes, and you did it great, right? Only this one was missing because it was a complete idea, but everything looked very good, Daniel. Right? Thank you very much. Good. You're welcome. And let's finish up with you, please, Wilson.
Okay. Last night I was eating with my girlfriend in a fancy restaurant when a famous person came next to us. It was weird because he's a singer and we didn't know what was happening. Then he asked me can I take a photo with you? I said, of course. I was waiting for another photo while he was talking with my girlfriend. This morning we saw Facebook and our photo was in his Facebook with a paragraph. Eating with normal people gives me a good sensation. God bless you to all my fans. We were so mad and embarrassed.
All right. Thank you very much, Wilson. That was interesting and funny. Good. So let's check. All right. Let's check the details. Again, it's good. I see and I can see that you have very good writing skills, Wilson. I'm just going to give you recommendations about mainly punctuation. All right. Because I see that the words, the vocabulary you're using are very good. Oh, mainly punctuation. All right. So very briefly, we have these 5 minutes. Good. This is the rule, the first rule, Wilson. If the words at the beginning are not the subject, last night is not the subject, right? What is the subject? I.
Yeah.
Right? So if the first words are not the subject, it means that this is an introductory phrase. Okay, introductory phrase. And for introductory phrases, you're always going to use a comma over there. Okay, and this is for academic writing. All right, here we're going to take a look at academic writing. I know that you're using even these contractions. These are not formal. I'm not going to correct that. Okay, it's very interesting, the contractions, cause, for example. But I'm going to give you the corrections for academic writing in case sometimes in the future you want to take a test. All right?
Okay.
So this last night, right? Last night, comma, I was eating blah, 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 blah. Very good. When a famous person came next to us or approached us, you can use the verb also approach, or sat. If that person sat next to you, you can also use the verb to sit. Okay, so you can use to approach, all right, or to sit. Those are options. Okay, I'm just giving you options.
Okay.
Sit. There you go. Then here, when you mention this is one complete idea, Wilson. I was pam, 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 when this and that, period. Okay, at the end of that complete idea, it means the ideas with when, you are going to use period or semicolon. Okay, here we're going to use a period. It doesn't matter that it's related to the next part, Wilson, because in English, it's going to be always a best idea to use period or semicolon and not to use comma every time. Okay, using commas in English to divide complete ideas is a mistake. All right, so here is going to be a period. It was weird because, right, because he is a singer. Now, this is the second rule for comma, Wilson. When you have complete idea, this is the only time in which you can use comma to divide ideas, Wilson. When you have a complete idea and you have another complete idea, it, subject, was, verb, weird, complement, we, subject, didn't know, verb, what was, complement, two complete ideas. To divide the two complete ideas, you can use period, you can use semicolon, okay, it's the period and the comma, or you can use a comma with a fanboy, and is one of those fanboys, okay, and a connector. So here you have to use the rule, okay, comma and the connector. That's the way in which you can use a comma, okay, only when you have a connector after the comma and before the other complete idea. In this case, this is the other complete idea. All right, so complete idea, comma, and complete idea, period. That's the other rule, okay? And it applies anytime, Wilson. Any complete idea, comma, but, complete idea, period. Any complete idea, comma, so, complete idea, period. Okay, any complete idea, comma, and, complete idea, period. All right, that's going to be more or less the formula. Then, again, he is the subject, then is not the subject. It means this is introduction. So you need a comma. All right, then, comma, he asked. The rule for using quotation marks is this one. You can use comma or colon. And even though it's a comma, you're always going to start with a capital letter. All right, to use quotation marks. Can he ask me, comma, can I take a photo with you? I said, this is another direct speech. So you're going to use this idea one more time, comma, quotation mark, sorry, quotation mark, capital letter, of course, period. Okay, here is going to be a period, and quotation mark. I was waiting for another photo while he was taking with my girlfriend. Well, he was talking with my girlfriend.
Yeah, okay.
This morning, right? This morning, again, right? This morning is not the subject, so it's introduction. So this morning, comma, we saw Facebook, or you can say we checked. All right, you can say to check. All right, to check Facebook. We checked Facebook. We took a look at Facebook, sorry. And, right, so this is the same logic, Wilson. You have one complete idea. We checked Facebook, complete idea, comma, and complete idea. Our photo subject was verb in, oh, here it's going to change, okay, and complement. So this is another complete idea. So you need this comma. Okay, so complete idea, comma, complete idea. Was here, I don't know why they are not correcting this. It's going to be on his Facebook account, could be. Okay, on his Facebook account, or it doesn't matter. It's obvious. Okay, account with a paragraph. And again, right, comma or colon, even with normal people, gives me a good sensation. Period. All right. God bless you to all of my fans. Okay, God bless all my fans. Perhaps you can only say that. Okay, after God bless, you can say directly, God bless all my fans. All right. Then not a comma, because the next idea it's a complete idea, Wilson. So here's going to be a period, and the period always inside the quotation mark. Period, quotation mark. We were so mad and embarrassed. If for you can use comma here, and I'm finishing with this one, guys, for all of you. If you had a fanboy, you can say comma, quotation mark, and we. Okay, in that case you can use the comma. But if you have a new idea with a subject, then the best idea is to write period and to write a new idea with capital letter. Right? That's it. That would be a Wilson. I don't know if you have any questions or comments about that to finish this up. Let me know, please.
No, teacher, I think it's all clear.
Thank you very much then, Wilson. And again, thank you, Daniel, Paola as well. Thanks for writing these. Thanks for your patience as well. Again, I always like to give my feedback to all of you. I know that I spend more time, but at least we got to practice that. Remember, please, these rules. I'm going to try to practice more of these writing exercises with you so that you can apply that. All right. Now we're going to finish here. Again, thanks for being more time with me. I'm going to share the survey. Let's answer, please, to those questions, and that's going to be it for today. Thanks for being here. Have a good night, and I'll see you tomorrow for the conversation. Bye-bye, guys.
Thank you, teacher. See you tomorrow. Bye-bye.
Thank you, teacher.
Bye-bye. See you.
Thank you, teacher. Bye.
Bye. Take care.